The morning broke with a sound that wasn't the soft chirp of sparrows in the pines, but a brutal metallic crash against my front door. So fierce I thought the wood would shatter. My coffee mug hit the table, my pulse spiking for the first time in months. I crossed from the kitchen to the entryway, my mind spinning, fallen branch, car accident. I yanked open the heavy oak door, and the world surged in. 2 uniformed deputies pushed past me, their boots scuffing the polished floorboards my late wife Clara and I had labored over. One, a young deputy with jittery eyes, kept his hand near his holster. Behind them loomed Richard Holt, his smug grin filling the doorway as he scanned my living room, the stone fireplace, Clara's faded armchair, her photos on the mantel, like he was pricing it for auction. "Time's up, Morgan," Holt declared, his voice bouncing off the walls. "You're trespassing. We're here to remove you." Trespassing. The word was a slap, absurd in my own home, built with Clara's dreams and my sweat. Cold rage flared, a feeling I hadn't known since my days on the bench. But I swallowed it. Anger was a trap. Control was my blade. I shut the door with a deliberate click, trapping them inside. Ignoring Holt, I fixed my gaze on the younger deputy, Officer Tate. "Under what authority," I said, my voice low and steady, "have you entered my private residence?" Tate, rattled by my calm, gestured at Holt. "Mr. Holt filed a complaint, sir. He's got an order for your removal." "An order?" I repeated, letting the word linger. I glanced at the room Clara and I had crafted, then back at Tate. "Which court issued this order, and which judge signed it?" His eyes flicked to the papers in Holt's hand. "It's an HOA enforcement order, sir." A thin, icy smile crossed my lips. "I see." I stepped closer, and both deputies stiffened. "My name is Daniel Morgan. For 25 years, I was a federal judge, and I'm telling you now, you're committing a felony." The air froze. Forcible entry without a warrant violates the Fourth Amendment. Evicting a citizen from their legal property with a non-judicial document breaches the 14th. I turned to Holt, whose smirk had vanished. "Filing a false report and forging a legal order. That's prison time." I paused, letting it sink in. "My security system, which you tripped, has uploaded the last 5 minutes to the cloud. This is all recorded." Tate stepped back, his hand dropping from his holster, his face pale with the realization he'd been played. They weren't cops anymore, they were intruders in a judge's home. 3 months earlier, it began with a whisper, a single letter in my mailbox. After Clara's death, our city house became a tomb of memories, each corner echoing her absence. I fled to our cabin at Cedar Hollow, our refuge built over 3 summers of laughter and love. I'd retired a year prior, drained by the Grayson Industries case, a grueling trial that sapped my last spark. All I craved was solitude, the lake's mist, the forest's hum, and space to mourn. For weeks, it was perfect. I read, fished from our old canoe, and tended Clara's wildflower garden, a riot of black-eyed Susans and coneflowers, her untamed spirit in bloom. Then came the letter, crisp and embossed with the Cedar Hollow HOA logo. Signed by Richard Holt, it claimed my garden violated aesthetic harmony under Bylaw 7C, demanding its removal in 14 days. I laughed, Clara would have roared at aesthetic harmony. My property, per every deed, predated the HOA and was exempt. I emailed Holt with scanned deeds and a polite note, my land wasn't his to govern. I created a folder labeled Holt Issue, sensing it wouldn't stay empty. I was right. That morning's confrontation proved it. As Holt and the deputies fled, Tate mumbling apologies, the silence wasn't peace. It was the heavy quiet after a skirmish. Holt's humiliation wouldn't stop him, it would fuel him. I'd won the battle, but the war for my sanctuary had just begun. A week later, his siege resumed, not with deputies but certified letters, forcing me to sign at the post office, a petty jab to waste my time. Each cited obscure bylaws, my firewood stack, neatly piled as Clara and I had done, was half an inch too high. Clara's bamboo wind chimes, her gentle melody, were an unapproved audible decoration, based on Holt's fabricated complaint. My green canoe was the wrong color. I didn't respond. I documented, photos, emails, a meticulous record of harassment. My home was now a crime scene, and I was its investigator. Holt tried the police again, cautiously. One Saturday, as I grilled a steak by the fire pit, Tate's cruiser crept up. "Judge Morgan," he said, embarrassed, "report of an unauthorized bonfire." I gestured at the embers. "A bonfire, deputy, or dinner?" He sighed. "It's nonsense, sir. Holt's flooding us with calls." Sheriff Cole's fed up. I thanked him but realized documentation wasn't enough. Holt wasn't a petty bully, he thought he was untouchable. I needed to know why. That night, with bourbon by the fire, I became Judge Morgan again. On my laptop, I dug into Holt's world, business filings, property records, lawsuits. His company, Holt Properties LLC, was solvent but unremarkable. Then I searched federal court archives, cross-referencing our names. One hit, Holt Properties vs. EPA, 2018. Presiding Judge, Daniel Morgan. I'd ruled against Holt's plan to bulldoze protected wetlands, fining him millions. He'd stood in my courtroom, seething, his pride gutted. This wasn't about flowers or chimes. It was revenge. My phone rang, shattering the quiet. "Judge Morgan, Sheriff Cole," a gruff voice said. "Holt's on my radar. He's got county board buddies and thinks he owns this town. Something's off. Watch yourself." He hung up, confirming my discovery. Holt wasn't just a tyrant, he was a man with a vendetta, wielding HOA rules like a weapon. The board was set. I wouldn't wait for his next move. By dawn, I called Sarah Ellis, my sharpest former clerk, now a fierce attorney. "Judge, what's wrong?" she asked. "I need you to dismantle an HOA," I said. I sent her the Holt issue, 500 pages. He sent armed deputies with a fake order. She was livid. "This is a civil rights violation." "I don't just want to win, Sarah," I replied. "I want to bury him." Our plan had 3 prongs. First, a restraining order against Holt, using police reports and footage to brand him a harasser. Second, a letter to HOA board members, warning their liability insurance wouldn't cover Holt's crimes, threatening their personal assets. Third, a lawsuit against Holt and the HOA for harassment, abuse of process, and civil rights violations, unlocking discovery to expose his empire's rot. Sarah moved fast. 2 days later, a process server slapped Holt with the restraining order at his office, his staff gawking. Letters hit board members' homes, sparking panic. Within 48 hours, the treasurer, Ellen Price, cracked. "Judge, I'm sorry," she sobbed over the phone. "Holt said you were a troublemaker. He used HOA funds for his lawyer, called it a community expense. He lied about you suing us." She was the key, holding records of Holt's misuse. A week later, Ellen sent an encrypted drive. Emails showed Holt mocking me. Board minutes painted me as hostile. Financials proved he'd siphoned HOA funds for his vendetta. His deposition was set in a bland conference room, a surgical stage. Holt arrived with a flashy lawyer, his confidence brittle. Sarah started slow, locking him into routine answers about HOA processes. Then she slid a photo of my firewood. Standard to cite a half-inch violation. Holt squirmed. She showed the chimes. A fabricated complaint. His lawyer objected, but Sarah pressed, revealing a bank statement. "Explain this $500 to your personal lawyer, paid after my client's email." Holt lied weakly. Then Sarah struck. "You knew Judge Morgan from 2018, when he cost you millions. Holt's face reddened. She slid an email where he vowed to make me regret living here. Read it, she demanded. He refused. She read it, her voice ice. Holt snapped, slamming the table. Damn right I wrote it. He ruined me. He deserved worse. The room stilled. His lawyer froze. Sarah said, no further questions. Holt's rage had convicted him. The fallout was swift. His lawyers pushed a settlement, substantial, but I donated it to a wetlands trust, a final jab. The DA filed charges, perjury, fraud, false reports. Holt's reputation collapsed. The HOA imploded, its board resigning. A new board rose, led by a fair retiree. I returned to my cabin, the air smelling of pine and peace. I fixed the door's gouge, stacked firewood, tended Clara's garden. One fall day, Sheriff Cole drove by, saluting. Quiet now, Judge. I smiled. Finally, the chimes sang in the breeze, Clara's melody. I'd sought peace but forged it through battle. Holt's war reminded me, a home is sacred, worth any fight.